How you doing? Okay, so this is really a test stream. I don't know if anyone's going to join me. I don't see anyone on right now. Just a little sip of my beer. What I want to do, I do want to do a series. Right now, I'm going to do some things live and just try it out. Whenever I can refresh my chat and get that blank again. Okay. What I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to explain a couple things to folks to actually do some things for your stream that are free. And there's a lot of things that I'm discovering as I'm going through this streaming experience and playing games and interacting with folks and everyone like that. And trying to figure out new programs, new ways to do things, and at little to no cost. You know, I want to invest what is worthwhile investing in streaming, and I'm sure you're doing the same thing. And a lot of you are going live with just an Xbox and a camera, or even no camera, and just going live on Xbox playing Call of Duty, and that's fine. But you do see a lot of the larger streamers with some fancy stuff going out there with borders around their screen. And as you can see around my webcam here, I have this green border around it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys a quick and easy way to make your own. This is going to be really messy because all I'm really trying to do now, I'm not trying to do a real tutorial tonight. But what I'm going to try doing is just to walk through some of the software that we're going to use. And I need to set up actually what I started to do between the last stream where I was playing Subnautica and this stream. I started to set up a scene collection in Streamlabs OBS where I could do some PC programs and explain what I use to set my stream up and what that looks like. It took me about 5 minutes to set up what we're looking at right now. So what we are looking at is a program called Krita, Krita. Actually, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to add a source on where you can get this, because this is found on krita.org, and I'm going to actually type that in and put it on the screen so you know. This is going to be very rudimentary and crude on this stream because I'm just going to give you guys some basics while I just do a layout on here. And you know, if you join me in the middle, don't worry about it. I'll leave it up on my stream. This isn't meant to be a final situation, anything like that. This is all just meant to be something for me to set this up. But if you happen to join while I'm walking through this and setting this up live, I'll entertain any questions. I'm not a graphic designer. I know enough to do some things, and that's it. And if I'm looking for something that's out of my realm, I'm going to go someone who really knows how to do this a lot better. So one thing I want to show you here is where to get this software that we're going to be using today. And I'm going to put this up on the screen for just a second. Up there. So I put the text up here. Let me move it. We're doing this all live, and I'm actually, you know, I have no idea what this looks like live. I'm going to have to check this out. But if you can see this, let me double check my Twitch stream. Yes, you can. I'm moving it around. Okay, so https krita.org. That's where you get this software. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to be, I let my dogs out, so in a second I'm going to have to let the dogs in. So I'm going to have to take a break. But if you're running Windows, and I believe this runs a Mac too, I don't use a Mac, so I cannot give you any advice on Apple products. When you indulge in a drink with me too, I'm having a Guinness stout tonight for after dinner drink. I don't use any Apple products if I don't have to, so I'm doing this all on a PC that I built. Excuse me, it's a fairly high-end PC. And what I'm going to do tonight is I'm just going to show you how to create a. Let me show you what we're going to end up creating. I'm going to add a source here. I don't think. Yeah, you can't see what I'm doing, but what I'm doing here is I'm gonna add a window border that we're gonna end up emulating. We're gonna make something similar to this. It's not gonna be the exact thing, but you can see here I have a window border. The sizing of this doesn't match the screen that I'm using right now. that we're going to make something like this. That's a transparent overlay that allows us to display some information and and have it overlaid, whether it be a game or a program or anything like that. We're actually going to be developing something like this border that I use today, and I'm constantly changing. But today I'm using a border like this. We're going to develop something that actually I'm hoping I can do something that fits this screen just right. My resolutions on my monitors are a little weird, so this is set up for my stream how I had it. But what we have here is we have a border that is 100% opaque, can't see through it. And down at the bottom here, I have, a picture, an image of whatever I'm using for a logo, and I have some text on it. We're not going to do anything as fancy as this. This was took me a little too long to do, and I'd be embarrassed to walk through the process that I went through to create that type of border on there when someone else, a graphic designer, probably could have done it in 5 minutes. It took me a couple hours. All I'm going to do tonight is to teach you enough to be dangerous, if you will, so you can actually do this on your own. If you want to try to edit existing borders that you can find for your stream, or if you want to try to make your own. So let me actually get rid of this screen border because we're not making that exact one, and I'm going to go back to this program that we have. So what we want to do is we want to go to Krita.org, which I have up on the screen. While we do that, I'm going to pull this website up. Give me a second. I'm going to set up a new source here. I don't know how exactly this is going to work. I'm not that experienced in Streamlabs on live editing sources, but we're going to try to do this. I don't think. Yeah, we have a viewer here. Okay. I mean, if you want to throw out in the chat what you'd like to get out of this, I'll tell you if I can actually do it or not. One of the other things I want to do is to show people how to set up Streamlabs OBS for their streams on PC, as well as OBS Studio on the PC, and show you some of the differences between the two. I'm not going to do that tonight, but I have it in my queue of things to show you. I got to figure out how to actually do that live without exposing everything that I have in here, because I'm a little hesitant, wondering if I have any private information that I may expose here. But one thing that I do want to do here, I want to add a let's see here, let's call it a browser. I'm gonna add, I'm in the background, what you can't see that's happening, I'm adding a scene to Streamlabs live that I'm going to be able to use to show you guys. That's the only thing I want to share right there. I'm going to use it to actually show you a browser window, so I got to be a little careful. I don't want to pull up emails or anything. So in my browser window here, I'm going to add, hold on a second, I'll pull it up in a second. If anyone is live on here watching, I do see we got a couple of viewers. If you want to just do a shout out in the chat so I know you're actually there. It's always nice to know that you're talking to someone. I'm going to add a browser source. That. Bear with me. Oh, this is interesting. I wonder if I can do this. This is, or this actually might work. Oh, interesting. I'm sorry. In the back end here, I'm pulling open a browser source. I think I added the wrong. Give me a second. We're gonna work on this. We're gonna get our borders going. I just have to get my act together. I want a display cap or a window capture. Do a window capture. Add a new source. I'm gonna use Firefox. One check. And we're gonna use Windows. done. One thing I have to do on share it out here. Don't need this. Give me a second. Please wait. I should do this in. I should do this. I'm gonna do something. What you're seeing here is editing live that doesn't always work as well as you'd like it to. Do this. I'm going to open up Google Chrome. What's happening? Okay. Let's see if. No. So if you're just joining and you can see the crita.org on there, feel free to go to crita.org and actually download the program if you actually want to work on it with me at the same time. I'll try to keep up with you guys. I gotta add it. Hold on a second. All I really want to do is just show you this browser window. Too much editing of there we go. Okay, we're getting there. We're gonna be there. Trust me, we're gonna get there. And see this so large. Displays are insanely large. So when I'm sharing them on screen, I have to resize everything down a bit. Okay, I think this will work. Looks really good. Okay. So let's switch to this scene here. Okay. So what you should be looking at right now, this is crita.org. This is the actual location where you can get this software called Krita. Krita is it's about as close as you're going to get to Photoshop for free as you can. There's another program called GIMP that I use for other purposes, but for quick mock-ups of things or translations between different file formats and all that, I'm going to use Krita. And what I'm asking you to do today is to go to this site. You see it's krita.org. I'll keep that up multiple times during this stream. Download this software, and this is what we're going to use. It's a free version. It's free to use. You just got to go get Krita now. Right here, the site should look like this, so you know you're not on the wrong site. And then you can grab this software while I'm talking to you and install it. And it, hopefully it should run fine on your computer. I'm not an expert for the minimum requirements on this, but this is what I use to do some of this work. So let me go back to my window capture. Once you have that out there, you're going to have some software. When you open it up, it's going to look like this. Now let me pull this over here. This entire thing I'm doing live. I'm creating scenes in Streamlabs OBS. I'm creating new window captures and everything like that. So this is going to be very clumsy. And I don't expect anyone to, to go through here and say, oh my God, he's an expert in graphic design. No, you're going to be looking at this saying this guy's a moron. And, I'm not a moron, but I'm going to show you enough to be a little dangerous yourself with this. Have a beer with me, please. Say hello on the chat. I'd love it. Okay, so while we're doing this, let me just get my screens laid up so I can see you guys and I can see everything going on here and I can see the chat and I can see Krita. Okay, so we have Krita and we've opened it up. What does this mean? This looks very confusing. There's all these buttons and tools and everything like that. And I do have to say that although this program is phenomenal for what it does for free, it's pretty damn close to what you could do for the rudimentary artist in Photoshop. It's not quite the same thing. You may want to go out and actually get some free Photoshop software for a month. I believe they give you 1 month free for their entire suite. And that's now what they do for Photoshop is they rent it out. Basically, it's all in the cloud and they rent it out month by month. Now, I don't like paying for things I don't have to. So if I can get the job done just as well with something else, I will try to use it. What I have found with this program, just like with some games that you play, it's got a couple bugs in it. And sometimes something doesn't work as it's supposed to. And if I close and restart and then it works, okay, not perfect. It's not, this is not the commercial version of the software. I believe they do have one, but you don't need to pay for that. This you can get for free. Right now, I have a program here that's free. I can use it for my Photoshop needs or whatever else I want to do. I can convert from a JPEG to a PNG. I can convert, between file formats and all that. Now, some things to remember. You're going to create a project, and in most programs like this where you're doing graphical editing or video editing, you can open and edit the source file or an exported version of a file that would be your final version, what I would consider a final version, like JPG, JPEG, GIF, however you want to pronounce it, PNG. Those are final file formats. That's not the project file that Krita would create. Krita actually creates its own file format that is a Krita file. And just like AI, Adobe Illustrator, and when you save that project, it's .ai. That's not an image format. It's actually a format that contains all the information for the program to use it. So just remember, keep in your head, there's a difference between the file that you are going to end up creating and the project that's going to start creating that file. And I'll show you that a couple of times so it becomes familiar. Hopefully you can all see the krita.org on the screen that I have up there. I want that displayed prominently for a little while so that you guys can see this stuff. I'm going to do, don't worry, I'm going to do a series of these. This really, again, if you're just joining, is a test for a layout and just see if I can walk through this and if I can even get through anything without fumbling too much while having a beer. So I'm going to have a beer with you guys. I'm drinking a Guinness. All right. Maybe let's see if we can do this before I finish the Guinness. So first things first, I'm going to open up a new file. And here's the new file. There's this file, all this. There's going to be a lot of things in here that you're looking at the menus. You're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. This is too confusing. Let me simplify it. A lot of what I'm going to do, if you're a graphics artist, stop watching now. It's going to pain you. You're going to be like, what the hell? This guy's a moron. I'm just going to show you as a simpleton, as me as a simpleton, as I learned getting into this. I'm going to create a new document. All right, that was easy. It gave me all this stuff to fill out. I don't know half this stuff. What's this model, RGB alpha? What's this depth? There's only two things on this screen that you need to know. I really wish I had like a screen, something that I could circle it. But what we're looking at here, hopefully I'm capturing the cursor. You know what I realized? I don't think it's pulling up this the new file image document here. So this is a problem. This is a problem because this is why we're doing this live. I can't edit this with you if you can't see this. Hold on one second. I may need to change my source here. Actually pull up the open dialog because I think Streamlabs OBS only captures by default. It's looking like it only captures the default window and not the pop-up windows. The capture method, let me take a match title out of the way. No title must match. This could work. Oh, just don't do client area. Hold on a sec. Try this. I'm gonna try it again. You can see my cursor. Problem here is what we can't see is the open dialog, and I need you to see this stuff. So I'm gonna actually see. We're gonna move our stream over here. I'm going to do something else for you. I'm going to add a window capture, and we're going to capture part of my screen. I'm just going to slide things in and out. Let me see if that will work. I don't see anyone in the chat, but I see a couple live viewers. It'd be great if you shouted out and just said, hey, I'm here. So you know someone's watching me. Really good to interact with folks. So let's see. If I do a video capture, audio capture, I want to do. What would be the best way to capture? Now, obviously, I'm going to try to edit this down. This is going to be tricky because I'm running these insanely large screens that I'm doing some tricky stuff with the video card to make it appear as one screen to the display capture. I wish I could do a portion of display capture. Messy. Really, really messy. Do this. It's not going to work. All right, we're going to have to walk through this. I'm going to have to play with the settings because this is just going to be too much to actually view on screen at the same time. Okay, so here's what I'm going to describe it verbally. That's the best I can do at the moment. And then when I edit this down, I'm going to do a little playing around with it. That's why I'm trying this out, because I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so Krita, I'm going to go File, New, and I get a dialogue for a new dialogue. You can't see it on your screen. What I'm actually going to do here, you know what I can do? I can actually capture this and then put it into Krita and show it to you. Look at that. We can be creative here. Let me do a screen snip. Everything's going to get dark. Bear with me. You're going to be good. I'm going to come back alive. Okay. And now what I'm going to show you is this. I'm just going to create a big document here. You don't need to really, don't worry about what just happened there. So when you do File, New, this is a really crude way of doing it. I'm going to have to figure out Streamlabs. When you do File, New, you get this dialog that opens up on your screen. And, you know, as I was saying, my cursor was moving around, but I wasn't able to actually show you the two things that you need to change. The two numbers that I want you to change on this screen are the width and the height, and nothing else. I can't change anything else on this screen. When you do File, New, you get this document, you get this dialog up there, and you're just going to create a new custom document, and you're going to change the width. You're going to change to 1920 and the height to 1080. Okay, so this is going to be crude. You're going to change that one to 1920 and the height to 1080. And then you say create, and a new document will open up. I'm going to do that right now. You're not going to be able to see my new document, but you're gonna be able to see it after I actually open it. So I'm gonna do 1920 width, and it actually automatically resizes to the monitor format of height of 1080. So it actually does that for you. And I'm gonna create a new document. Okay, now you can see exactly what you should be seeing once we open this up and we get a document within Krita that you can actually do something with. So this is a, hey, how you doing? XDits Fusion. Thank you very much for, whoever just followed. I'm trying to do like 10 things at once, so I apologize if I don't catch your follow when it actually happens. I know people love streamers and everyone throwing out their name, but, as I see you. Nivek Snow, awesome job, mate. Okay, cool. So what I got here right now is a, one screen that mimics the size of a good to hear. Happy New Year to everyone. Slap lekker, man. Is that a holiday? I don't know. Not sure. I don't know what language you're talking. I wish I did. I only know English, a little French, and maybe a little Spanish. So what we're going to be doing here is it's Dutch for good night. Okay, good night. I rated. Oh, good. Come on board. It's great to see some new people and new streamers here and everyone joining us. I love it. I have a great time with everyone here. So what I'm going to try to do here, and this is, I guarantee you, if you just joined, when I edit this down, when I do it a second time live and I walk some people through it, it's going to be much better. But right now it's going to, I'm playing around with layouts to try to figure out how to do a tutorial with people. I'm not a graphic designer, so that's all disclaimer. So if you are, this is going to pain you to watch this, but that's okay. I'm willing to put myself out there and try to teach you guys something that I learned myself for free. So what we're looking at is a white page. And this is basically a blank page in your canvas to work with. And if I actually started doing something, I could draw on the screen. I'm going to hit Control Z to undo that stuff. I can make a mess and I can draw a picture. We are going to draw something on it. I'm going to show you how to do it. But I only want to teach you a couple small tools because it's very overwhelming if you try to learn this program in itself. What I want to teach you here is there's a cursor object, which is a arrow over here. I'm going to select that. If I select that, you'll notice that I don't do anything. I don't type, I don't write, I don't draw on my canvas because I deselected this paintbrush tool. If I reselect the paintbrush, I then draw again. We don't want to draw. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select this arrow so I know I won't draw on my screen. So you just learned how to select different tools. There's a lot of tools here. And as you can imagine, T is for text. Okay, this arrow is to select things, select shapes tool. And there's a whole bunch of others. I'm not going to go through them all. I just wanted to show you how to get yourself safe to a tool that's not going to mess up your canvas. This here I'm going to be calling the canvas in my work area, whatever you want to call it. And then the other thing that I want to show you here, if you're keeping up with me, and you can always pause the video, and I'll pause for a second, have a sip of my beer while we're doing this. I want to show you what's called layers. Off here to the right hand side, it's a little tricky to see, and actually I've had some trouble with pulling these panels out. You can pull everything out essentially and make it a pop out. And if I do that, I'm afraid that Streamlabs is not going to capture the window. So I'm going to have to leave it as small as it is. But over on my right hand side is this small area that shows essentially two lines with these eyeballs next to it. Okay, we have an eyeball here and an eyeball here. And if I hit this plus sign, I'm going to get a third eyeball. Okay, and if we use a scroll right next to it, I know this is small. Let me see if I can get us a little more room. I don't know if I can. No, I can't. Everything's kind of snugged in there. And I'm afraid to pop it out because I don't think Streamlabs will capture it. But what we see here, that plus added what's called a new layer. Every layer, if you imagine it, is like a page on top of a page on top of a page. Now, let me show you something in real life, and maybe I can explain how this is going to work. So at the very bottom of this, we have the background layer, and that's this layer. I'm going to select it, and you can see it kind of puts this blue line through it, this selection line through it. Okay, that's going to be like this card. I'm going to hold up this card to the screen, and you can see that. Okay, that's white. Now, if I hit, for example, the eyeball to the left of that layer, and I'm going to hit that eyeball. See that eyeball there? I'm going to hit that eyeball. That makes it disappear. Okay, so that makes it didn't delete it. If I hit the eyeball again, it brings it back. Okay, so that's, can I see the layer or not? So that's making it visible and invisible. I'm going to leave it for now in default mode. Okay, and bring us back to default mode. So now you can see that we have multiple layers. So a layer is like this. I'm going to take this index card. This is my base layer, or my background layer as Critic creates it. And here's a second layer that it puts on top. Okay, and we can have multiple layers on top of each other. I can add a third layer. I could bring a third background layer or foreground layer in. I could put it on top of that. Now, if they're all totally white and filled in, they stack up, and you can't see what's actually on the first layer. So if I went to the background, for example, and I drew, let's draw something. Let's make this messed up. Oh, it's locked. Lock it. And I draw some scribble on there. Okay. And I'm going to make this just like the index cards. Bear with me. You're not going to know what I'm doing for a second here, but that's okay. I might mess that up. and I go to my other layer, and I do that. So what actually what I really want is a white screen here. Okay. So let me do this for you. So we saw our scribble. Sorry, ignore what I just did. All I just did is I took on the bottom layer, I drew a scribble. And I'm going to do that in real life with an index card. So this is for you people that don't really do this stuff in real life. There's a scribble on my index card, right? Just like on the screen. Now, if I have invisible layers like glasses that have clear screens through it, you're going to see that scribble. Okay? But as soon as I put an opaque layer in front of that scribble, you're not going to see it. Right? And I'm going to make this second layer, if you go back to the screen on Krita, and I make that second layer visible again, it suddenly disappears. I didn't erase anything. All I did was make this other layer visible. And it covered up, because it's filled with white, it covered up my scribble. I make it invisible by clicking that eye again, and I can see the layer below it. So remember this as you're editing things, that everything's like these stacked layers of cards on top of each other. Okay, and that's important. And this is why it's important, because what we want when we do scenes in Streamlabs or scenes in OBS Studio, everything is stacked when you're looking at your scene windows. And when you move something up and down, it's rearranging that stack where it puts one thing in front of another thing. And what we want to do to create that layer, that we have a border around it, and you can see in my camera here, I have a green border around this entire camera. We're going to create something very similar to that. And this is how we're going to do it. So first things first, let me get us back to where we were. I'm going to undo a bunch of stuff here. Okay, so I had made some scribbles, and I added an extra paint layer and all that. Now we're back to where we started when you opened up a new window. And let's start from here. What we're going to do is we're going to create a transparent window on top of a background, and we're going to use that as an overlay. And that's why it's called an overlay, because you're actually taking something like your scribble that I created. I don't have it right now. Your scribble, and then you're overlaying it with something else. And what we're going to end up with, let me show you in real world terms what we're going to do in Paint. You're going to end up with an object that will look like this. I'm doing a little arts and crafts for you guys here. This is live. This is live. This is what we call arts and crafts. So if we had our scribble, okay, and we overlaid it with something that was just a white square, you wouldn't see the scribble, right? But we're going to make something really fancy like this. So if we take our scribble and we overlay it with something whose middle part has an opening on it, you can still see a scribble. But then I can do things like this. I can, arts and crafts time again. I could put my title, my name on top of that. See? Let me see if I can get that in the camera. I wrote Code Wolf, okay? I want to have a Code Wolf title on the top. We're going to do this. We're going to make this right now. We're going to do it in like 5 minutes. Probably not 5 minutes. And we're going to end up with that, okay? And that's exactly what we're doing in Paint. And hopefully that clarifies a little bit how some of this works. So first things first I'm going to do, I'm actually going to make this background, I'm going to make it disappear. So we're going to close that eye. We're going to tell it, don't show the background, because I don't want to see it at all. I want to see what I'm going to do on this layer where I'm making this square, okay? Then I want to go around it. And I'm going to do something really simple. This is messy. This isn't what you would normally do, but I'm going to use like a rectangle tool. And basically what I want to do is I want to draw a rectangle on my canvas. And right there, I did it in a color that I don't like. I'm going to hit Control Z. I'm going to undo it. I want to point a couple things out here. I'm going to bring the background back and then get rid of it, just so you see how that works. Get rid of it again. I also made sure my paint layer 1 is selected. Okay, that's selected, and that's what I'm drawing on. I'm going to use the colors up here to change the colors. I believe it's default black, so if you didn't do anything, that rectangle you just drew with me, it was going to be colored black. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to choose this rectangle tool here. Okay, you can see it off to the left-hand side of our canvas. There's a paintbrush. You could use that too if you want. I'm going to use the rectangle tool. By the way, in any program that you do here, This checkerboard screen is indicative of something that you can see through, that is transparent. So that's a layer that's going to be like glass to the rest of the screen. So you don't need to worry about that. So I'm going to click on this tool here, and I'm going to just draw a big rectangle right around the edge of my screen in black. Okay, and there I got it. It's really messy. That's okay. I don't mind it being messy. I'm going to show you some cool tricks with that. So I drew a rectangle, right? If I make that background visible again, there it is. You can see that the white comes out. So let's imagine this. I'm going to choose my background. I'm going to get rid of my paint layer by making it invisible. I'm going to choose my background and making that active by clicking on it, and it'll become blue. And I'm going to choose a paintbrush. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to paint you on camera. Okay, this is going to be really ugly, but this is going to be you on camera. Okay, here's you. You're smiling because you're happy. You're streaming. You're getting followers. Everything's going good. Okay, you know, I don't know, maybe you got some lights behind you, or, you know, something happening back here or something like that. Okay, that's you on camera. You wanted to do an overlay. Well, we just made one. Here's your overlay. Look at that. Not fancy, but it put a border around you, right? Now, let's apply our kind of ugly overlay. I'm going to actually put it on the screen we're looking at on Streamlabs OBS right now. So let's do that. I'm gonna, you can't see what I'm doing, but we're gonna do this for another day. But I'm gonna apply this image. Well, let me do one more thing. I'm sorry, I apologize. I have to actually export this image to actually use it. So why don't I do that? I'm gonna make anything invisible that I don't want to see. All I want is a frame, and you can see that I use these eyeballs just to make it empty. Okay, and I got. It doesn't show it anymore. It doesn't show my background anymore. And I can see the checkerboard where I want to see the checkerboard. And I can see that frame that I drew around it. Even though it's an ugly frame and it's messed up and it's not right. That's okay. We're going with it. Even little mistakes are good. They'll turn out good in the end. You get to like them. And I'm going to go, and I'm not going to save this file. This is where we get back to what I was saying before, where you have a project and you have your final file format. We're going to export the file, and I'm afraid when I hit this, you're not going to be able to see the dialogue that it says. But export is almost exactly like saving a file, and I'm just going to hit export. It's going to come up with a dialogue, and you can't see this. I expected that, but you'll be able to see it. It's just like saving a file and anything else. I'm going to save it as a PNG. Okay, that's P as in Peter, N as in nutmeg, G as in gopher. Okay, that's not, I know that's not the right terminology, but, and I'm going to save it over, I'm just going to save it to, I don't know, my desktop, and I'm going to call it my frame. And when I hit save, Crit is going to ask me a couple key things here, where it's going to ask me, hey, how large do you want the file size and all that? Don't worry about any of that. Just save it. Just say okay. Just say okay. And you'll get a saved file wherever you asked it to save. And it's going to put that file here. I saved it on my desktop. You couldn't see that. I'll figure that out for a later stream. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add something new to my stream. And what I want to see here is I want to see that black border become my frame of my entire stream here. And you're going to see, it's going to be hard to see part of it because it's going to go around my webcam and everything like that. I'm going to add that to my Streamlabs OBS scenes in my current scene as an image. And if you're doing OBS Studio, it's the same thing. You add an image to your current scene. We'll walk through that another day. And I'm going to choose, when it asks me what I want, I'm going to choose a new source and an image. And I'm going to go out and I'm going to look for where I saved that PNG file. And I'm going to select that and watch what we end up getting. You're going to see this in a second. I saved it under my frame. I choose that and I say done. And now what I end up having is a black border that I can resize. And I'm going to resize it a bit so you guys can actually see. First things first, I need to get it in front of, you want it in front of everything else. So it needs to be on top of the entire screen. So it's everything else, like I was showing you with those index cards. It's on top of everything else. Now, you can't quite see this, but I'm going to pull it and move it around the screen so you can. what we just created, this stream is 40 minutes long, and I just created you your first overlay. Okay. And here it is. I'm moving it around on the screen. You can see me moving it around. I can resize it however I want. It's really ugly. You know, normally you'd want to get it right to the edges of the screen, okay, which I'm doing here. And remember that my screen goes beyond the Krita window. And you can see that that black border now, if you're watching my, I don't know if you can see my, yeah, you can't see that, but my cursor, I was following the edge of the screen. So now we have enclosed our screen in this black border that we created. I'm going to, make it ugly and just kind of leave it on Krita. See that? So it was basically just a quick frame that we did. We put something together, and now I have an overlay I can use in my stream. It's ugly. It's not as fancy as all those other things, and I'm going to go through some other edits where I show you how to do some other transparencies and some things like I did. So, for example, if you wanted to get to something, there's a lot here. Let me get rid of some of this stuff. If you wanted to get to something that's just like the get rid of Krita too. It's just like this Code Wolf 0 box here that we have on the screen border on the Code Wolf 0. We can get to this, and I can walk you through how to do exactly that. And this, you can see, when I resize it, that's what my screen looks like when I'm streaming, and that's what you end up with. And this is exactly what you can create. This was done with a, it took me a little more time to do it, of course. I didn't do it with just a rectangle around the border, but same idea, exact same idea. I made a couple layers with some green and some blue. I added my logo on it and all that, added some text and some clip art for these little things down here. And I ended up with a screen border. And there you go. So that's all I really wanted to do now. I just wanted to have a beer with you guys and show you how to do something real quick. So if you download Krita, you'll be ready for my next tutorial where we'll actually walk through this and do something that is actually usable and not as crude as I just put together. Again, let me pull up Krita so you can see the program. Now I got all this stuff on my screen. I need to get rid of half this stuff. There we go. And let me get rid of the screen border that we created. And now we're just back in Krita. So that's one of the simplest things you can do for yourself for free. Krita is a very powerful program. And you can create your own screen border, and that's how you do it, kids. It's that simple. So, you can figure it out. Now you're a graphic designer. You're probably not as good as the people that are actually making these screens, but that actually will show you how to do it. I hope that makes you dangerous to go out there and make a screen background. So that's all. I'm gonna end the stream on this. I just wanted to test it out. And what I'm going to do later, we'll do some more polished tutorials. This is really just a layout test. And I'm going to get back to playing some video games and doing what I do best, which is streaming and just playing video games. So check out Krita. What I'm not seeing here is the text. I want to leave you with that. I want to make sure that you can actually see the text where it says, where is my text? There's my text. Now it's in the background. There we go. We got to pull this up to the front. I want to make sure that you can actually see the text in front of everything else. Let me get rid of Krita and make my text displayed. There you go. Go there, go to that address, download the software, grab that. You're going to be rolling in no time. I'm also going to do a couple tutorials on video editing once I figure that out. It's going to be crude. It's going to be messy, but it really frustrates me when I go to YouTube and I look for something like, I just want to cut 20 minutes off the end of a video, and someone shows you how to make an animated cartoon that would take you and me 20 years to figure out how to do. So I'm going to give you enough just to do the very simplistic thing. You can learn from there. I've learned a lot of things just starting off with an example and then taking it from there and playing around with the tool set. So do that. Go to this site right here, get Krita. It's a safe install, no problems with it. I'm not leading you wrong here. And soon enough, you'll be editing stuff in this software just like I just did. And in a couple minutes, you can make your own frame borders. It's not going to look pretty at first, but here and there, you're going to be looking pretty good. Look at my early streams and see all the crude stuff that I put in there. I'm learning as I go. So, okay, I'll end the stream on that. Thank you very much. I had a couple viewers that jumped in there. That was really cool. I wasn't even trying to advertise this. I just wanted to throw it out there. Thank you. Have a good stream, everyone.